Good morning and welcome to the video. If you are new here, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, good to see you again. It is currently Saturday around 10:30 in the morning and we are back at Chatfield Reservoir. The reason I came here for my workout today is because I have a 5-mile at pace workout. My hunch is that in my past workouts, honestly in this whole block, I've been assuming my race pace is slower than it actually is for my current fitness. That felt very apparent in the last workout I did last night or at the end of the last video. I felt like I was able to push a lot harder in my race pace than what I assumed I would be able to. This will give me a good judge of where I truly am. Even in a shorter workout, I'm just going to do 2.5 out, 2.5 back, try to keep it on the flattest course I can. That should be super helpful in really judging how I'm doing and where my true race pace is going forward. I did get up a little later this morning. That being said, I still took the time to eat, get some fuel in. I had a couple pieces of sourdough, just get some carbs and some fats in with butter. I also have a gel with me in case I feel like I still need it. I woke up fairly hungry, so I'm thinking it might be helpful at least halfway through this workout. I also have a shaker bottle of G1M Sport that I've been sipping on and will try to finish before I get going on this run. Other than that, feel pretty sufficiently fueled. I had a pretty decent night's sleep last night. That should lend itself pretty well to a good performance today. Always excited to go train at Chatfield. Let's go train.
That's what we call a lesson learned the hard way.
Let's dive into that run. The intended purpose of this run was to gauge where my race pace was for a half marathon, given where we are in the block. We're a couple weeks from the end, and I wanted to get a true feel of what that pace was actually at. I had a very strong track workout yesterday, and I thought the metrics at the time were pointing me towards a faster race pace than I was expecting, potentially faster than I had been able to carry in the past. And I was wrong. And you probably noted that from the clips that preceded this of the actual run. It was very difficult. Really only finished it just out of willpower and wanting to maintain the pace. Once I had gotten basically 3 miles in, I just wanted to push through to the end. While I'm proud of the effort overall, I know it wasn't necessarily the workout I was supposed to do. There's a few reasons why I feel that it was too fast and a few metrics that I am going off of more than just feel, pointing towards this being quicker than my actual race pace at this point. The first metric for me, and this is also combined with feel, is the heart rate being fairly high as an average heart rate for 5 miles. If this was the beginning of a half marathon, the first 5 miles, this would be a high average heart rate and not something I would want to see if I was going into that effort. This would be very hard to say it staying towards the end, and this is an average. If we look at the actual analysis here, you can see that it got up quite high. My max heart rate was 178 towards the end. If you're hitting 178 halfway or less than halfway into a effort, you're going to have a really tough time finishing that effort strong and getting the results that you want. The next personal metric that I have to gauge that this was probably too quick, I did run a 5-mile race in October. That effort was only a minute and 20 seconds faster than this effort. That was on a fully downhill course. It was a very quick course. I've gained some fitness from then, but definitely not this much fitness. We're on a completely flat course. I am getting anywhere close to that time if I was thinking about this as the beginning of a half marathon. The final metric we can look at, and I will go back, if we look at the run from yesterday, you can see while my average heart rates, which is what I was looking at, were not super high, you got to also realize that these are average heart rates at a 1600 meter length. 168 beats per minute means I was probably getting into the upper to mid 170s at the end of what is basically a mile at this effort. I didn't really put those two things together when I was looking at the data. It's an honest mistake, but something I will definitely pay more attention to going forward. Honestly, just had a really strong effort yesterday, and that got me excited. That being said, sometimes your runs are more lessons than they are triumphs. In this case, it was a strong effort. I'm glad I pushed through to the end, but definitely not what today called for. We'll definitely keep that in mind going forward as we work through more workouts that are at race pace. Probably bring expectations around 7:50 to low 8 minutes. That's more the zone where I would think I would be able to continue an effort into a full half marathon and not feel like I'm going to collapse at the end of 5 miles. Good afternoon and happy New Year's Eve. It is currently Sunday, and usually that means I have a long run, but I was out late last night at a 10-year high school reunion, but I also had a very long week. Training was pretty tiring and sleep was not as consistent as I'd like it to be. That all means that today, instead of doing my long run like I normally would, I'm going to take the workout from Monday, which is just 3 miles easy, and move the long run to tomorrow because I have tomorrow off. I have that time. Very fortunate I have the flexibility to do that. Again, because I'm not going into a race, I feel like I have a lot more leniency of where I put runs and move them and not feel like I'm building any kind of fatigue going into different workouts. Obviously, that's not the most optimal way to do it because now technically I'll have 2 long runs next week, but I can shift that around. I'm getting close to the end of this block, which gives me the ability to push things into different days of the week. All that being said, ready to go and finish off the year with an easy 3 miles. Just finished the last 3 miles of the year and went a different way than I have before and ended up finding a new 3-mile loop, which is always exciting. Happy I made the decision to do the 3 miles today instead of the long run because my lower left calf was acting up a little bit. I think just from the speed work yesterday and the strain that I had. Plus recovery, as I mentioned earlier, wasn't stellar going into today, even though Whoop says it was great. I think physiologically there was still a lot of strain built in from that run. Super excited to see what next year holds. Hope you all are having a great end of your year and are looking forward to 2024. Finishing up this block in January, and then we're going to be moving into the 50K. Super excited about that. Really looking forward to bringing you all that content and going on that journey with you.
that's gonna be it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel a ton and helps people just like you find this content. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that you see new content right when it comes out. Otherwise, we'll see you on Friday and in the new year.